Today I'm going to lace a wheel NOBL Wheels style. Online they have a wheel building guideline, so I'm just going to lace up according to the way that they say it. Here we go. I have my hub, I have my spokes, I have my nipples, and I have this WTB I-25 rim, and within their guidelines they're going to tell you that they use nipple oil, spoke oil or whatever, and I'm just going to show you the kind of oils that I have and stuff that I've used over time. You know, I have pipe thread compound, chain oil, 3-in-1 oil. You know, I got some paint brushes there. I got Loctite. I have the blue. I have the red. You know, if you really need something, I have this lip balm stuff that I never use. Let's get into it. So they have wheel building guidelines that just kind of talk about all the tens of thousands of wheels that they build, so they're just pumping themselves up. Okay, so lacing. Our standard process with lacing is to build all of our 29-inch wheels 2-cross and all of our 27.5 wheels 3-cross. The reasoning behind this is that a 29-inch wheel requires a little more lateral support than a 27.5 wheel due to the spoke bracing angles. So a 2-cross can provide this. Conversely, the smaller diameter of a 27.5-inch wheel is stiffer and doesn't require the added support of a 2-cross lacing pattern. That being said, the actual handling differences between the two lacing patterns are not discernible. So in this case here, I only have spokes for 3-cross. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be building a 29er wheel. That's 3-cross instead of 2, but the guidelines are still the same. Like, I'm not really using a NOBL rim, so I'm just using what I have. 3-cross is the way I'm going to do it and not 2. So the key spoke, this is where it all begins. Refer to the valve decal on the rim for orientation when wheel building. This is critical because the rims are asymmetrical. If you orient the valve hole up, then the second spoke hole angles to the right. There's also an arrow in the center of the right channel beside this hole. This is a key spoke of a typical build, so you should not have to change your normal process. Now, what they're doing is they're telling you how to insert the key spoke into their own rims, and we don't have that. They're giving you the information that you need to build up their rims. Okay, so our lacing pattern. So for 700C 29er wheels, for 24 to 32 holes, they use 2-cross. Okay, and like I said, we're going to be using 3-cross because that's the length of spokes that I have. And for 650Bs, they use 3-cross, but we're not using those, so we're not going to have to worry about that right now. So number 1 on the lacing guidelines is to use a nipple shuffler to orient all of the nipples heads facing up. I've never seen one. I suppose you could buy one, but I guess there's a reason for it, and we'll find out. Probably because, like I showed you at the beginning, like they're oiling or greasing the nipples or something like that, and it's really hard to hold on to. Number 2 is locate the graphic on the hub and orient it so that it lines up with the valve hole when the wheel is completed. For 2-cross 29-inch wheels, it's generally about 60 degrees clockwise of the hub logo, or the third hole from the logo. For 3-cross 650B, it's the fourth hole about 90 degrees clockwise of the hub logo. Okay, well, the hub I have doesn't have a logo, but I'll just kind of go through the motions here with you. You just kind of pretend here, count over 4 holes because it's 3-cross, and there you go. We've inserted our key spoke into the hub. So number 3 is lace the key spoke elbows in on the drive side and insert it into the second hole after the valve. There should be the valve hole, then 1 open nipple hole, and then the next one is for the key spoke. Make sure you have oriented the rim correctly if it has asymmetrical drilling. So this is important. The holes on the rims are drilled with left-right angles, but if you follow the previous instruction, you can't really mess this up. Now again, they're talking about how to build their own rims, and we don't have one of those, so the steps are the same, but we're using different parts. So there you go, there's the valve hole, and you would just insert your key spoke. sometimes it's nice to do one spoke on the disc side just to get the pattern set up nicely, which is what I always do. The spoke will go just right of the key spoke on the disc side of the wheel and into the open hole between the valve and the key spoke. The spoke should run in parallel to the key spoke. Okay, well, I've been doing this since like the beginning of time, so here you go. You find your key spoke and then you just kind of move over and insert your second spoke, which I call sometimes a second key spoke. So number 5 is use a pin vise, a nipple picker, a nipple picker upper to pluck a nipple, and then apply a speck of grease under the nipple head where it contacts the rim's nipple bed. Okay, so now we know why they're using a picker upper, because when you put grease on the nipple, like it's just gonna slip out of your fingers and you can't really like hold on to it. So number 6, thread on the nipple 1 to 2 revolutions, just enough to keep it from unthreading right off. So for me, I usually do like 4 half turns, so it's pretty much the same thing. So there we go. Just show it to you. Sometimes it's nice to do one spoke on the disc side just to get the pattern set up nicely. So like we just read this, it's basically the same instruction. It's just I want to show you here how I do it into the rim, and they don't say not to, so it must be okay. Once the drive side of the wheel is laced, lace the non-drive side, elbows in again. Okay, whoa, one thing we have to do is actually build up the drive side, so we're just going to do that first. Count 4 holes over, so 3 rim holes, and insert into the 4th. And now you've started your pattern, which I noticed they neglected to say in their instructions, but I guess maybe this is not for noobs. It's for, relatively experienced builders, or at least someone who's built a wheel at least one time. So once the drive side of the wheel is laced, lace the non-drive side elbows in again. We prefer to build wheels for braking forces front and rear. However, if you prefer to build the drive side of the rear wheel for driving forces, that's fine too. That's pretty much the Shimano way of doing it, and it's called identical lacing. Okay, so just move on over here to the non-drive side and we'll do exactly as they say. Now the pattern should clean itself up here. That's one of the reasons why I put that first spoke in on the disc side, so that you already have like the pattern to follow. It just makes it a whole lot easier. We have to build that second side up, and we're going to do our crossings. And of course, I'm doing 3 cross. They say to do 2 cross, but I only have spoke lengths for 3 cross, and so that's the way I'm going to show you here. So basically, you have to twist the hub in the rim so that you have that space at the valve hole, and it gives that space between the key spoke and the other spoke so that you can pump up the tire. So we're just going to finish off the disc side here, and again, after the wheel is laced, double check that the spokes alternate left, right, left on the rim, and elbows are in, out, in on the hub. There should be a large open parallel at the valve area so that a pump will go on no problem. Okay, check the spoke crossings. So when you look through the valve hole, you should see the hub logo. If the hub logo doesn't line up, it just hurts the aesthetics and not the physical build. But it is the mark of a good wheel builder who pays attention to the finer details. If you're stuck with a hub logo that just won't quite line up due to the placement, it might be best to orient the logo far away from the valve. So they're saying if it doesn't work out, do it again. And that is the mark of a good wheel builder. Okay, so here you go. You can see you have that space at the valve hole. The crosses are okay. You can see that our spoke placement is right. So left, right, left, and in, out, in on the spoke heads and elbows. So I hope this video helps you out on alternate ways of lacing up a wheel. And the guys at NOBL have their own way, and they took the time to actually write out some wheel building guidelines, which, I shared with you here. So if you want to see me build any other wheels that are similar to this style, you can click right here.